Welcome back to America Right Now. Monday's commemoration of the September 11th attacks is a reminder that we are a nation driven by noble purpose. Despite our arguably reasonable inclination to view the oceans as impermeable barriers or be drawn into the foolish one-world utopian notions of the left, we must embrace the truth that America still has enemies. That truth must serve as a source of strength and unity, as it has for nearly a century of American global dominance. Americans have always embraced global challenges. Even in the days when we resisted entrance into the world wars, we knew that ours was a nation of light and possibilities in an often dark world. Our rise to prominence was inevitable because our nation's DNA ingrains in us the ardent belief that a free society is the best way to fulfill God's plan for humanity's advancement. It is that belief and that belief system that was attacked on September 11, 2001, and it is under attack today. America has real enemies who hate our way of life, our prosperity, our quality of living, our commitment to faith, and of course, our stability and freedom, and that's okay. No need to gloss over these threats and those domestically who are doing the aiding and abetting our adversaries by doing that. Folks, we need to re-engage with a new global realism that replaces climate change hysterics with a fervent acknowledgement of our genuine threats. This realism must again be led not just by savvy diplomats and keen military leaders and politicians willing to execute clear policy, but by all Americans, you and I, embracing each other again. During the Cold War, Americans understood the clear dichotomy between the evil of communism and the freedoms that are the wellspring of human advancement. We understood then that our way of life was under threat by brutal pagan authoritarianism. As a people, we were largely okay with that. As a people, we were confident not just in our broad exceptionalism, but in our pride of purpose. September 11th is a good time to get back to that place as a country. Just being America and Americans, innovating and expressing ourselves and celebrating our differences, we're all engaged in putting an end to the Soviet threat, and we were all engaged in recovering from the tragedy of 9/11. When the Berlin Wall came down, it was a victory for every American, even those who never wore the uniform, because being who we are as a people projects our values to the world. This September 11th, Patriot Day, the world, however, and many here in this country, are wondering what happened to the American spirit that was ready to bear the mantle of leadership. They see a paper tiger torn apart by chaos profiteers in the media, coddled and weakened by academics, and pitted against each other by leaders whose views about America are only a step removed from those of our enemies. Today, the great contradictions of the left and its Marxist underpinnings have given us a mindset that tells us that America is not exceptional, not a force for good, and projecting our values around the world is xenophobic and dangerous, all while simultaneously tamping down the notion that we have enemies at all. They say that we should negotiate with terrorists. Authoritarians and communists, they're not so bad. They're entitled to expand their influence. Human rights violations aren't our worry. The war in Ukraine is not our problem. The same people who would tell you that the greatest threat to our nation is climate change or white supremacism are the ones who intentionally diminish the threat of authoritarianism in all of its forms, encroaching on American freedom and the world. They're the same people who believe that the rise of communist China and imperialist Russia and Islamic fascists left to their own devices have no impact on the United States. Folks, these are not strategic competitors, as President Biden is fond of saying. They are adversaries who hold a worldview that is the exact opposite of ours, and they will stop at nothing to ensure that they dominate the world order. Xi Jinping told Joe Biden that democracy's time is running out. We should believe him. But even Republicans have picked up on the World War III scare tactics as a way of talking us down from a position of global leadership. For those on the left and increasingly on the right who claim that this country is either irredeemable, beyond repair, or simply disinterested in global affairs, they must acknowledge that level of pessimism and conscious avoidance play directly into the hands of our enemies. Folks, if you don't have enemies, then you're irrelevant. And an irrelevant America means that our way of life is supplanted by something brutal, soul-sapping that will set humanity back millennia. So it's just fine to have enemies. We should honor the dead of 9/11 and the war on terror by embracing that realism. It is a badge of honor for the nation.